cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. It's time again.
What up, y'all? You tuned in to the 52 Scott Podcast. This is Music Monday, and I'm your host, Slash. And with me, I got Comedian 96, K Money, Freddie G. Together, we are the Mind of Men. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast. On Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast. All right, and welcome back to another Music Monday. Got another great topic for you. Now, last week we talked about one-hit wonders, the artists who we felt were one-hit wonders of the earlier years of rap. And the reason why that's so important is because it brings us to where we are now. And we know that in rap, it's a lot of things that mattered with your album. It had to do with the title of your album. It had to do with what your album cover looked like, even down to the songs that you were creating and the titles of your songs. So this week, what's really going to be important is we're going to be talking about the best rap album titles. Now, there were a lot of rap albums. It's hundreds and possibly even thousands or hundreds of thousands of rap albums since rap began 50-something years ago. And we just taken a couple of the best titled rap albums, and we're going to expose them to y'all. And if we miss anything you feel like was a wonderful title, don't forget you can always leave us a comment, put it in there, we can talk about it. So I want to start off first with this one. And this was a great name of an album, and I think it comes from his name, basically. Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style.
Yeah.
When you look at stuff like this, and I'm looking from, let's just say, an executive standpoint, to know that your name is Snoop Dogg, I would expect you to drop an album called Doggy Style. It only makes sense. So this is what makes a great title for an album. He followed a tradition from a dog to the way the dog have sex. Doggy Style. Perfect. Now, this wasn't supposed to be included, but he did it again with this Missionary album. He took the sex of Doggy Style and changed the position that they was in and named it Missionary. So Snoop Dogg is on to something, and I think this is very important in a creative world when you have hip-hop, because that's what it's all about, creativity, not taking from what somebody else is doing. It's creating your own mold of what you want it to be.
Not to this is messed up. Don't he have porn too?
Well, he was doing stuff like Girls Gone Wild back in the day. And not to say, I don't think that hurted his career.
It fit. I mean, it fit.
Because what we know what I think what Girls Gone Wild done for Snoop was introduced him into a different diversity audience.
Yeah.
You know, Asians, Hispanic, white people, you know, it opened him up to a lot of different cultures. So I think it helped him to do that, you know.
Expanded his portfolio.
And which was a great thing. But like I say, you know, these are the types of things you need to be thinking about when you're doing an album. Don't just create an album making a bunch of song titles that don't mesh together, because does the music you make even belong on this album title? I think that's the most part of creativity that a lot of artists are forgetting about.
See, I think that, like, I know we associate Doggy Style with sex, and then we'll associate, like, you know, the new Missionary with sex. But I look deeper, right? So I think that the Doggy Style was kind of used as a double entendre. Let me tell you what I mean. His style, like meaning that I'm Snoop Dogg and here's
Doggy Style.
my style
Doggy
of
style.
rapping,
Right.
my doggy style,
Which also makes it creative.
Yeah.
See, it's a creative standpoint where it can go anyway, and what you want from a creative standpoint is people to think about it.
And of course you're gonna think sexual,
Right.
right? And Missionary, his new album, to me, that's more like, okay, kind of more, for lack of better words, grown up.
Yeah.
Grown up, say, we can lay Missionary face to face. Let me make love to you
Right.
musically,
Right.
instead of,
Yeah,
for lack
and-
of better words, fucking your doggy
Yeah,
style.
exactly.
You know?
Which makes it a great album title, because it gives you the opportunity to think outside of the box on a lot of this stuff.
It definitely does, and it's definitely up to the individual. Because Freddie G, I definitely didn't think of Doggy Style in that manner until you shed some light on me and got me thinking
And
of it on a different.
he showed you a different
Yeah.
outlook of
I was
that
thinking
title.
like how you
Right.
presented it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
So which is that's why this show is very important, because it's the creativity and what they're making you believe or making you think. It makes everybody feel a different way, but at the same time it makes sense. Now, this person, she's been a wonderful artist. She's been a wonderful producer. She's worked with the likes of Timbaland, what's the girl name? Aaliyah, Sierra.
Demeanor.
Yes, Missy Demeanor. Her album was called Super Duper Fly. What fit with her style, Missy was super duper fly. Her style was new. It was new, encouraging style of hip hop that nobody was doing besides her and Timbaland. I mean, you got to be super duper fly to put on some trash bags in your video.
your video.
Do you feel what I'm saying? That's super duper fly. So what her whole mentality was let me do something that nobody else is doing that's going to be creative, and I'm going to stand out from somebody. So super duper fly makes you think, okay, her style, rapping, was super duper fly. Her writing skills for other artists is super duper fly. Her production status was super duper fly. She was creating things that was brand new to the hip hop world, which I think that makes this album title perfect for who she was. Super duper fly. I mean, she gave her and Timbaland, and I want to say this on a production level, they gave us ideas to use sounds that we never even thought of using.
Yeah, they was the one with the crickets and the.
They would use animal sounds or any other kind of sound, and we wasn't doing that in the studios yet. They brought that out, and the triplets of the the drums and stuff like that. They kind of brought that to the limelight, which made Super Duper Fly. So shout out, Missy. Your work is great. Love to hear more work from you. You've always been one of those ones, female wise, that was on your own creativity. You never followed a trend, you created them. So shout out, Missy. Now, Kendrick Lamar. This is the name of the album. To Pimp a Butterfly.
I'd never heard that.
Confusing.
I didn't know that.
It's confusing. How about
But
that?
you know that Kendrick Lamar has that eccentric, his voice is different. His cadence is different.
Yep.
So I don't know where he was coming from with To Pimp a Butterfly. Because what it makes me think, though, is it easy to pimp a butterfly?
Shoot, man.
You got to catch it first.
First of all, they don't live but a day, so you only got one day of pimping.
You got to catch the butterfly first to pimp it. And how many times have you caught a butterfly? Is that hard to do?
They usually land on me.
You caught one before. I mean, like literally just.
No, they land on you.
Yeah,
No,
see,
I ain't never caught one.
Very creative title. Although I'm not sure what his mind frame was. Now, this was released in 2015.
I
So
was just about to ask which album this was.
yeah, it was 2015 when he released it, So it was his sophomore album.
Okay.
So he had one before then, and this was the second one. But not sure what he meant, but I think he was just using it basically as a metaphor, saying that it represents using his celebrity for the good. So he's the butterfly.
So break this one down, Freddie G.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Break it down.
So first of all, I would think that if it's a butterfly, it has already reached its heights. And what I mean by that, it was a worm before.
Yeah, you come from a caterpillar first.
A caterpillar before,
Yeah.
right? So once it goes into its cocoon, and now it becomes a butterfly,
And you begin to fly.
now
spread
it's
your
like,
wings.
okay, I've spreaded my wings, now catch me.
Right.
And if you cold enough
To catch
to
me.
catch this butterfly,
Yeah.
use a pimp.
You got
Hey, he got me on it.
So-
I tried to catch him off guard, didn't we?
but I think that's
That's just a
true.
crock of
Shit
bullshit.
makes sense too.
It
though.
sound good,
Yeah,
though.
that
Crock
shit
of
sound
bullshit.
good.
you put it in the contract. I done signed it. I
Well,
believe it.
because think about it. Again, it's hard to catch a butterfly. I've never caught a butterfly. If you can catch a butterfly goes through so many different phases before it shines.
Yep.
So he's basically saying he been through the first stages, the second stages, and now, like Freddie G said, I'm going to spread my wings, I'm going to fly, and if you catch me, you know,
Use a pimp.
Cold motherfucker.
you're a bad motherfucker, you know. So shout out Kendrick Lamar, still doing his thing. You know, you shut a couple of careers down, and I think you've been a very a very talented individual to shine like you have, and because of where you come from and the style that you're doing, you've taken something and you've made it your own, coming from that side, you know, a West Coast standpoint. Because if we didn't know you was from the West Coast, we couldn't hear that in your lyrics and your cadence. We wouldn't know that had they not said, hey, he's from the West Coast. We wouldn't have known. So shout out Kendrick. All right, so now I'm going to go to an old one. And I can remember years ago I went to a concert in the Summit. These guys were there. They named their album It Takes a Nation of Millions
To hold us back.
to Hold Us Back.
Public
Enemy.
Public Enemy. Featuring the world's own Flavor Flav.
Yeah, boy.
So this was a political standpoint type of album, and the name kind of says it, because what they're saying is we tough on our mind frame, the way we think, and we can overcome. It's gonna take a bunch of y'all to hold us back because we got it from every angle, meaning the words that they speaking on a political basis as far as government's concerned, as far as black people are concerned. This was a movement that began to try to enlighten other black people who had no idea, especially listening through rap music. This was their way to inspire you through rap music, the message that needed to get across to the younger generation that had no clue of what was going on in America. Because a lot of the stuff that we seeing now has always been here. You know, but people who were older seen it before us. So this was their way to get the message across to the younger generation who needed to know, because it's going to help us as a culture. And I think it should be more stuff like this. But I think since now the music industry is more commercial and more controlled by different culture people, it's not controlled by the black community. It's controlled by other cultures. So I think we need more of this, but they've been blocking this even since this came out. You know, this stuff was banned
Yeah.
a long time ago.
I actually think that their other album had a better title.
Which one?
Fear of a Black Planet.
Fear of a Black. Was it Fear of a
Fear
Black
of a Black Planet.
Or it wasn't Black Nation? It was
No,
Black
Fear
Planet.
of a Black Planet.
Yeah, they had that was a great one. But I remember they had one song. I don't know which one it was on. What album did Letter from the Government was on?
I think that was Fear of a Black Planet. Hold on.
So he said he got a letter from the government the other day. He opened and read it. It said they were suckers. And he went off on the government from the standpoints how they feel. You know, you want to keep black people down. We've been down. Why are you still trying to hold us down? You know, and you know, this would be a different topic or different story, but I think it's not just other people trying to hold us down. We kind of hold ourselves down a little bit, you know. So we need people like this. We need more songs like this to get people to understand. And Freddie G, when you get to that, just let me know. I'm gonna move forward with Nas, and his album was called Illmatic. So Illmatic sounds illmatic. We know ill means sick. So you know, they were taking words and making slang, you know, from sick and ill. So illmatic, I'm guessing automatically he's ill. Either way it go, he's gonna be
Nas
sick.
to me, he moves like in R&B. It would be, you know, I know he's past Prince because he's low key. You don't hardly hear anything from him until he says something.
Right.
He kind of lose. You know, he not. You don't see a lot of posts on Nas. Like, you know, you see Jay-Z out here. You still even see Tupac and Biggie, and they gone. But you don't hardly see
much
that
Nas.
much on Nas. He kind of he's got a low. He moves real subtle. You don't.
Under the radar.
Yeah,
And
under the radar.
I think he does that purposely. I don't think it's because he can't get the social, you know, help or whatever from other people. I think he's just on that level to where, you know, he's more
it's cool. I
shy
like-
away from
Yeah.
the limelight type
Yeah,
of
you
thing.
don't need a big entourage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
which is
I would
cool.
do the same thing because I don't want everybody. If I was a singer rapper, I would want to lose low. I don't be out on the internet and
Right.
And I want to go to the grocery store without paparazzi taking pictures and stuff. You know?
Yeah, Nas move. I like the way he move. And man, if you listen close enough on these commercials, you actually hear his voice. He's on like some of these Hennessy commercials and stuff
really?
like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Endorsements.
And also, by the way, the
The album, that was on.
that with Public Enemy, that song is called Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos.
Yeah.
And it was on their second album,
Second
which
album.
is The Nation of Millions.
Nation of Millions, yeah.
And so-
man, that was my favorite song from that because he talked about, you know, a letter from the government, and I think they was trying to put him in jail and all kind of stuff, you know. And I don't think he meant it from a standpoint as it's him, but I think he just meant it as a standpoint of all black people.
All black,
this
yeah.
is this is what we going through. This is what we dealing with, to make people aware
And their videos painted a clear picture
of what's
the
going
song.
on. Yeah. And a lot of people see Flavor Flav now and they laugh at him. But man, Flavor Flav was down with some real type stuff, man, back
He
in the
was,
day.
he was.
You know, so you have to respect Flavor Flav for being a part of this type of stuff because it was supposed to try and change the mind frames of the millions of rappers. The millions of rap listeners.
You know, man, when you mention Flavor Flav, man, we know that Chuck D is the guy with the vocals
Right.
and the lyrics, but I can make an argument that Flavor Flav was the most popular.
Oh, of
member.
course. He was well known.
I think that people will recognize Flavor Flav before
Before.
they recognize
Yeah.
Chuck,
Chuck
D.
D.
I agree with that.
Yeah. The clock.
Yeah.
The clock did it. Every time.
he created a lane for himself.
Yeah, he did.
Because back in that day, every rapper had a sidekick, or
Yeah.
not necessarily a
Hype
sidekick,
man.
but a hype
Hype
man.
man.
And Flav was one of the first hype men to get mainstream exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he created a style for him to be seen, which was the big clock. So everybody know him from the clock. You see him now, he's going to have a clock on.
Yep.
It is what
Yeah,
it is.
He had that dance too.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
had
he
his
had
own
that dance,
dance. Looked like a crack addict.
Yeah.
But shout out to Flav, man. He used to be here in Houston recording at a couple of studios that I would be at, and I ran into him a couple of times. Real cool dude. You know, Flav is Flav, man. He's a real down to earth brother. He's a little characterized, but that's okay because of who he is
Yeah.
and
Right.
where we know he come from, so we can accept that. You know. Now this person, strange title of this album, but I can kind of understand that from the type of personality that he has. Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is the name of the album.
I can see that. I can see that
From Kanye.
I can see that from what. First of all, I believe that Kanye listens and hears everything that people say about him.
Oh, yeah. He's in tune.
And so that album, in one minute you'll call people will call Kanye West crazy. Another minute they'll call him a genius. And when you have a title like that, you have to have a creative mind.
Right.
You got to be a little bit off your rocker too. So I can see how that.
I think what really puts him in the forefront of a lot of these other artists Kanye West always speaks his mind. And when you mention you have to be a little, not crazy, so to speak, but in that sense, I think it's just the fact of him being so upfront and forward with the words that he's saying. And I believe it's important to be that way nowadays as an artist or as anybody. You have to be upfront and forward about what you feel, what you don't like, and you can't care about what other people think about you, because you're gonna get the respect from everybody because they know who you are, not because who they think you are. It's a difference when you got respect from people because of who they think you are, and then when something happened, they see a whole different side of you. So he hasn't taken himself to a standpoint where he's not respected. I think everybody respects Kanye West because he speaks his mind, and anybody should do that.
I think all his albums tell a story, right? His titles.
Yeah.
Like you start with College Dropout, right?
College
Is that the
Dropout
one
was
when
great.
he had the Rick and he talked about in the video.
The Wire.
The
The
song.
song.
That was The
Yes,
Wire. That was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think each title meant something to that album, is what I'm trying to say.
See, I see that title totally different. I see the title as, when he says College Dropout, is him telling everybody that told him, you need to stay in school, stay in college, don't be chasing this music stuff.
Right.
It's not going to work for you.
Right.
I believe that was something that he would come up with this title like, Nanny Boo Boo.
Right.
Here you
Yeah.
go.
That's what I mean.
Throw it in their face.
Yeah, it
throw it in
kind
your
of makes
face.
sense.
Yeah, here's something from the college dropout.
Yeah, it
I
only
can see
makes
that.
sense.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
It only makes sense. Kanye West is, like you say, I think he's a genius. Next in line, of course,
musical genius.
musical genius.
Yeah.
Next in line, NWA,
Straight out of Compton.
straight out of Compton.
Yes, sir.
And
Of course.
and believe it or not, we talking about the titles of the albums, but the title of this group was just distinctive.
Yeah, that was. It was.
We know the
acronym,
name.
The acronym NWA. We know what it stands for.
So that was so much different for any group. It didn't matter what the title of their album was, because the name of the group helped you understand where they was coming from. But because they were out of Compton, they had a lot of songs that mentioned what's going on in Compton due to gangs, different neighborhoods, different gangs, and drug sales and drinking 40 ounces.
They
and,
gave you a visual of L.A.
of
lifestyle.
LA. Yeah.
exactly.
And LA has always been visualized as this place because they gave us the vision. So we
very
knew
vivid one.
a very vivid vision. And even the movie itself, when they did that movie, I could see, the truth in Compton coming out and the gangsterized name that it has. So they was really good at what they was doing. Next on the list, this is something that I would stay away from, although he did this, and you got to be careful the words that you speak, because you can speak it into existence by not paying attention to what you're doing. And as an artist, it's known that certain things you shouldn't put in the atmosphere. The Notorious Big, Life After Death.
Yeah.
This album came out after he died.
Now, see, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he had anything to do with that. I think that was all Puffy.
Possibly.
I
It's
think
just
that,
a lot of coincidence.
I think that was
Yeah.
saying that, okay, my album, here's life. Here's life, although I'm dead. Here's me,
So-
although I'm dead.
Now, let's go back, though, because that was the name of that album,
Ready to Die was
the first one.
yeah.
So you piggyback off of Ready to Die,
And then Life After
and then you die.
It's just a lot of coincidences.
And then
you
it's
know,
life
in that
after
whole
death.
situation. In my
exactly. Just like you just said, Freddie G. Puffy had a lot to do with that. I'm gonna leave it there.
It's just certain things. But I mean, he had in his songs.
Yeah.
You rapping about stuff,
Yeah.
that you probably should stay away from. A lot of people do it. Now, this next one, and I'm moving a little faster through these because we still got a good little ways to go, and I don't want to miss anybody. 50 Cent's Get Rich or Die
I
Trying.
like that.
Makes sense.
Love that album.
Yeah.
The songs on there fit the concept of Get Rich or Die Trying because everything he was talking about was either getting rich or he was dying trying to get rich. The movie showed it. And the reason why I'm mentioning these movies is because these movies needed to be shown for the titles of these albums because it's so, unique. You have to have a movie for that to even describe and give us a vivid picture because in reality, we believe the name of the song, but if you show us the vision, then we really in it, So 50 was good at doing that. And that was a really, really good album. That's the one where he had Window Shopper and all of these songs. So, what's that? Gangsta, what up, Gangsta? Wanksta.
No.
Yeah.
What up, Gangsta?
What up, Blood?
Yeah.
What up, Cuz?
What up, Blood?
Gangsta?
And he had Many Men.
What about your birthday?
Yeah, he had Wanksta.
It's your birthday.
He had songs for the ladies. He
Yeah,
had songs
he
for
had
In the
gangsters.
club.
In the club.
club. Yeah, Dre was featured, of course, in production on here. So he did what he was supposed to do. 50 still shining, man. 50 took off from just that. So this girl, she was a great artist. She did movies, all this. Queen Latifah had a song called, her album title, Black Rain, I think was a good title because you could look at it in several different ways. This is a black woman on her game.
Queen.
Latifah. Reigning for however long, but it's black. So Black Rain, you couldn't.
Well, this is a black woman who reigns supreme.
You can't put a better, synopsis to that. So I think she really did a good job. And then this is the one that had UNITY on it. So she had some really good uplifting songs for ladies to bring black women to the forefront to try to help them and all kind of stuff. So Queen Latifah, good job on doing that. Shout out on that. Okay, now this one, I'm gonna mention him. We got people don't like this dude, but Nothing Was the Same by Drake. That was the name of his album. Nothing Was the Same. Now, why would he name it that? I don't know. Possibility because he come from a different entertainment standpoint to this other side of entertainment standpoint from television to rap.
Was this the
Nothing's
first
the same.
album?
Nothing's the same. Which album was that?
Well, Drake didn't have many, man, but Nothing the Same was I don't think it was his first. It was his third studio album that this was. So it wasn't the first one. So I'm guessing he created the title from I think it's the switch from television over to music. Could be.
Now, I would think that.
Let me try Freddie G. Let me try this one, man. Let me try this. I'm going to say that since he came in the game, nothing else was the same afterwards.
Let me try this. I'm going to say that Nothing Was the Same because he took everybody's songs, remade them, and they're not the same again.
You can go that way too. Now, I'm not saying that, but it's a lot of different ways you could think about this that could possibly be the issue. We don't know, but, it makes you think different ways, which is why these titles are good. Now, Me Against the World.
Yes, sir.
We know what that meant.
Yeah.
We know who did that. Tupac. He's always had this Me Against the World feeling about his songs, and it was always challenging to listen to a Tupac song because the challenging part was, damn, is he telling my life? I've been through something like this. Let me remember my story where I went through something like this. So, Tupac himself was just a talented rapper, man. He changed a lot about the music industry, but Me Against the World tells you exactly what that is. Everybody's against me. I have to feel like this. I have to live my life like this. But it shows you that through his personality. It was him against the world. He was going to get it no matter what. You was either with him or you wasn't, but he was going to go get it. Tupac was just that type of artist. He was very outspoken, talked about a lot of stuff that went on, and we kind of miss the fact that he's not amongst us anymore because he was one of the truest rappers that I could, remember from those days. Now, this is a great name. They came up with this. Outkast had
Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music.
ATLians.
Okay.
Or, yeah, ATLians, I guess. Is that how they said that?
ATLians.
Yes.
ATLians.
So we know what that means. They like aliens
Yeah,
from
they different.
from Atlanta.
If Bombs Over Baghdad was on that album, then yeah, that was the perfect. I think.
I don't know if that was on there. I don't think Bombs Over Baghdad was on there.
It
But I
wasn't on that
mean,
one?
a very unique name, you know, for anybody from ATL. And then, you know, the group name, of course, they were Outkast. They were so much different from everybody. You
I
know?
would have picked Stankonia over that one.
Over that one.
Yeah.
That was a great name. That was a great title.
I would have picked Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music in Your Trunk because that's what they produced when they very.
Well, that
first
was the
came
first
out. That was the
record.
first album.
Yeah.
That was perfect because that's exactly what they produced.
Now, what y'all think about this one? The Blueprint,
Yes, sir.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Well, you know, KRS-One had it first.
He did. He had the Blueprint first.
He had it first.
So, why Jay-Z?
Why do you think he did it?
Yeah, I would think.
I think that. So he knows that KRS had the blueprint
yeah,
because he's from New York.
from
How
there.
can you not know?
right.
But if you wasn't into rap music heavy like that,
You didn't know.
you wouldn't know
KRS-One.
KRS-One had blueprint.
Right.
Now, I know all of us know that KRS-One was lyrical
Yeah.
from Boogie Down Productions and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that Jay-Z thought that was a good title,
And wanted to run with it.
and he wanted to run with it because his name is more popular,
Popular.
Yeah, okay.
At
than
the time.
KRS-One.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I think that now it could be in his own right. KRS-One had it in the late '80s, early '90s, or whatever, and well, late '80s, I think.
Yeah. It
And-
was 80s.
Yeah, late '80s, and here was the blueprint to hip hop. Here's how this worked lyrically, and this is what you need to study if you want to be good.
Yeah.
And then here come Jay-Z evolving and elevating lyrically, depending on who you ask, and said, "Now here's the blueprint,
blueprint,
to how
yeah.
we doing it now." So
Which it only makes sense because, you know, there's everything has a blueprint.
They need stipulations on the title Blueprint. You got, not saying Jay-Z doesn't have lyrics, but you got people that's out there better. Like I said, Nas, we talked about him earlier. You gonna name your title Blueprint? I think Jay-Z is the king of one-liners. He say something like, "I spent your life in a day." That's a to me that's a one-liner to where a lyricist gonna have you thinking after the song is over. Get what I'm saying?
I disagree, man. I think Jay-Z he's good with some metaphors.
yeah.
as well.
He's Jay-Z. I think he's lyrical.
Yeah,
and then
I mean,
too, rap is
one-liners.
subjective, man.
Yeah,
Who you
right.
think is hot or whatever.
Right.
But you know,
So in 1999, this album was released. It was a debut album called Black on Both Sides. That's Mos Def.
most deaf.
Now, Black on Both Sides, it kind of brings me to, do y'all remember this saying? And this is from the 70s, early 70s. Give me five.
On the black hand side.
On the black hand side. It kind of makes me feel like what Mos Def is saying is it's in his hands and it's black on both sides. Like, no way are we gonna miss what blacks stand for, because he's always been on blackness. You know, even now he's so much on blackness, he's changed his name to a more black, African black sounding or King black sounding name, whatever that is. I don't know if that's his original name or is it something that he came up with, but it's got that King sound to it. You know, you can't even pronounce it if you don't know it. I think we've talked about it before on this show, and I was struggling trying to pronounce that name that he calls himself now. It's not listed here, so I would have to go back and bring it up. But he's done so much, and I like his style. He's like and I would put him next to, if y'all remember the group Poor Righteous Teachers.
Yeah.
He's kind of along the lines of that, where it's conscious rap, but it makes sense. And I think the experiences come from injustice being done to black people is where this album title came from, because where is blacks on this side? You know, the blacks on this side ain't being treated fairly, but you got blacks on this side that's helping the people that's treating the blacks unfair. There's so many different ways that this can go if you just want to look at it from a different creative standpoint, what he could have meant with this title. Don't know, but I think it gives you something to think about, of course. Now, it's dark and hell is hot.
DMX,
man.
That's my dude.
Hey, man, he gonna tell you like it is. It's dark and hell is hot. He not saying he going to heaven. He not saying I'm a saint, I'm going to heaven. Look, man, my path is dark and hell is hot. I'm going through hell trying to get where I'm trying to get. This is what I get from that title. You know, which could very well be that, because his rugged lyrics always had something to do with, like, what do they want from me? You know, all these people, what do you want from me? This chick, this is what you want. I gave you what you gave me. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to, you're trying to put me through hell and hot water.
Yeah.
And I gave you what you gave me. You know, so it's dark and hell is hot. I think it's a good title for a song, and it explains who DMX is, in more so of a good way, because if you never, and I'm not saying nobody's ever heard DMX, but if you've never heard DMX, this is your first time listening to this title, this pretty much explains who DMX was. He went through some issues, you know, a lot of different things. Allegedly, they saying him and drugs and stuff like that. You know, of course, people go through their own stuff, and I think DMX was able to explain his journey through this title of this album. It's dark and hell is hot. So I'm gonna move on to Cardi B, Invasion of Privacy. Haven't really figured out why that would be here for the title wise.
Yeah, I don't.
But I mean, maybe she invaded her own privacy. Was that what was happening? Because who invaded her privacy? I don't know.
Already on them talk shows already. Those R&B divas. I don't know which one it was.
Well, what she's trying to say is
Reality.
it refers to how celebrities live and completely change when they get fame. This is what she's saying that means. However, I can't, put that together. But she's saying when you start rising as a star and fame, people change. But I don't see how that's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, celebs really don't have privacy.
There is no privacy, So maybe that's what she's saying. Once you get to that level, there is no privacy. It's invasion of privacy. You got TMZ everywhere every time I go somewhere, and all these other media sources are looking to see what I'm doing and to report the worst thing that I do. So moving on, love this artist, J. Cole, A Born Sinner. Now, I don't know why he used that, but looking at the album cover, he has this doll-like facial thing with horns, as if it's a devil. But in between the horns, he's got a king's crown. So he's a born sinner. I'm guessing. I'm trying to figure out where it comes from, but that's his sophomore studio album. And it was in 2013 when he did this. But J. Cole's a great artist. Can't take nothing away from him. I think this was the one that had Crooked Smile and Sparks Will Fly. It's a lot darker this time. So I think he's just mentioning, the stuff he's been through. He's been through some sin or whatever. But whatever the case is, J. Cole's a great artist, and I'm sure he chose this title for a reason. Beats, Rhyme, and Life. Y'all know who that is?
Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest.
Beach, Rhyme, and Life.
Yeah. Right. Tribe Called Quest.
Now, that only speaks for itself. This is what they're about. Beats, rhyme, and life. So I always have liked a Tribe Called Quest. My favorite song from them was Bonita Applebum. Man, when I tell you,
that?
oh
Yeah,
man,
Q-Tip.
in some 18s, that song in some 18s will break your back, man. The bass of that song is so deep, so strong. I mean, they was on to something. But I've always liked them. Shout out to A Tribe Called Quest, even though they lost one of the guys.
Fife Dog.
Fife, yeah. And Fife was one of the greatest rappers of that group. I mean, he was really, really good. But Q-Tip is good, too. He's still doing things.
Q-Tip does a lot of production now, producing. But Q-Tip's vocals, that his vocal sounds is what made him. It's something about the way he delivers his lyrics,
right?
That made him. Although Five Dog was good, I just like Q-Tip's vocals and his delivery.
Well, I think he was more of one that created words too. You know, his voice, his vocal tone, for one, was perfect for the style. To me, all of that's got to match. You know, if your voice doesn't fit what you're saying, everything is about creativity and how it's supposed to fit together and mesh to make a record sell, you know, millions of copies. And I think Q-Tip was one that was able to get across to millions of people the style that he was, you know, showing. Like I say, his verse on Bonita Applebum was the one. You know, I could hear his voice throughout the whole song. So he's probably more or less the one who began the writing on that. We're going to move to an H-Town artist here. In 2016, Birds in the Trap sing McKnight. That's Travis Scott. What do y'all think that title means?
I think that title means that if you are trapping in drugs and you get caught, you will sing, you will squeal, you will tell.
Probably so.
You're a bird. Yeah. You're a guy that's in the trap house and you doing what you're doing. And then if you get jammed up and you get caught, you're going to end up telling.
You're going to tell.
I don't know. I just made it up.
But it sounds, it only makes sense.
Good too.
You know, I was trying to find a reason for McKnight being in there. I don't know.
I thought you said at night.
No, McKnight.
See,
Birds in the Trap sing McKnight.
I think he was just high. I don't know, man.
But it featured the artist Brian McKnight on that song. So I don't know what he was saying, but basically all about his friends and growing up in Mo City, of course.
Wait. I'm sorry. You say that's the title of the album.
That's the title of the album.
And the title song is called what?
It did. I never said the title of it. He had a song that featured Brian McKnight on it.
That featured Brian McKnight.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what title of that it was, but he was on there, and he explained the title in an interview with Billboard and saying that it's basically about his friends and growing up in Missouri City. That's what that song, I guess, is about. Birds in the Trap sing McKnight. That's what he explained.
Oh,
so everybody have a reason, you know, why they do it. I don't know that one, but shout out to Travis Scott. And if y'all notice, Travis Scott, it's not many artists from here in Houston, local artists that were on before he was that he's done songs with. Have y'all noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Really, 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 really strange. But next, God forgives. I don't. This is Rick Ross saying this. I don't know if he overstepped a boundary with that one. That title is kind of not, you know, because who are you to not forgive?
Well, I think he just put that out because he has a persona.
Yeah,
possibly. And he has to be a tough guy, a drug dealer, whatever persona he's putting out there. He the biggest boss.
Right. That you've seen thus far?
Yeah. And I think that he just has a persona. He just trying to.
So, yeah, it's probably just a persona because he got a song on that album called Pray For Us. You know, so it's kind of, I look for creativity in this, and Pray For Us don't belong on the album with God Forgives. I don't.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I'm just trying to put it together. No takeaway from Rick, but I just don't think that one probably shouldn't have been on there. All right, so let's get it. Thug Motivation 101. Jeezy. definitely fits his rap style.
Yes.
It tells you what it is. It's Thug Motivation 101. I'm finna teach you how to be a thug, and let's get this money. Or let's get whatever it is we trying to get at. So Young Jeezy kind of self-explanatory on that one. So he had Akon on this song, and it was called Soul Survivor. But I really am a big Young Jeezy fan since earlier albums of Young Jeezy. Went to one concert that he had here, and it was on a New Year's Eve. And man, when I tell you, he got on stage, they started the music, and when they started the music, he said the first 2 or 3 words, and everybody, the crowd was, the rest of it was
The crowd.
yeah. He could have sat down and smoked a blunt,
While
and
they
the people
sang.
would have still been doing it. And Zero was on that same show. Zero did the same thing though.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so they both on the same level. All right, and moving to the next one. Now this one, www.thug.com.
Trick Daddy.
Trick Daddy. You know, I guess it's self-explanatory.
I just think he tried to catch the wave of
Thug.
the internet. The internet.
Yeah, I agree.
And just let me just throw this out here because
www.com.
You know, at one point that was
That
like
was the main thing.
That was the main thing. www.
back in the day.
What year?
Now
What
you
year?
don't even say that.
What year was this one, Slash?
So this was
was
1998.
Yeah, that was that. I don't know that song.
Yeah, that's like the
That-
beginning
yeah,
of
that's
the
that.
internet.
But it went mainstream, so I guess that's the title. Helped it go mainstream because everything was www.whatever.com, you know. So Trick Daddy did his thing, man. And, I'm sure y'all have seen the shows that he had, the reality shows.
Yeah.
Um,
Trick Daddy, he's a cook.
Chef,
He be cooking
yeah.
now.
He a cook.
yeah. Now this person we mentioned before, but a lot of people don't know the history of this dude. He's really thugged out. MC Hammer. His album was called Please Hammer, Don't Hurt Him. Self-explanatory for Hammer because he was gangster.
Yeah, actually, I
he
think
was
I think "Hurt 'Em" is used in a way of "Please Hammer." Ooh, man, I'm finna hurt. Like you put on the outfit. Ooh, I'm finna hurt these
Don't
hoes
hurt
with this
'em.
outfit.
Yeah.
You know,
And-
like I'm finna.
Parachute pants.
And
Yeah.
everything about his whole set of, you know, he had all the people dancing with him. So Hammer don't hurt him. You got the dancers on
Yeah,
time. You got
yeah.
the clothes. You got your own style. You do your thing. You know. You
And
got.
that sound like something your uncle will say too, man.
Don't hurt him.
Hey, nephew,
man, don't hurt
before
him.
you
Don't
got
hurt
that,
him.
don't hurt about that, nephew.
You already know that was an old school saying, and he was like, "Okay, damn it, I'm gonna use this." Last one on the list, and then we're gonna get out of here. But I do want y'all to show up next week because we're gonna have another interesting topic. So the last one on here, now, and I'm gonna spell this one out, is Ice Cube, America's Most Wanted, AMERIKKKAS, Most Wanted. So what he's saying is he's the most wanted by the KKK because of what he talks about. Q was talking about lynching. Actually, he had a group called the Lynch Mob. You know, lynch come from an old thing that they used to do to black people. They used to lynch black people. And again, Cube was kind of along the same lines as Public Enemy with these governmental, you know, we need to stop the government from doing
Trying
the
to
stuff.
exploit the government.
Yeah, you know, trying to exploit the government. And that's what Cube was a part of, man. And I think, like I say, we really need this back because look at the world we living in now. And we got to have some kind of way to make a stand against what's happening. Or we going to just be silent? Or we going to try to teach each other? Or we going to try to help each other? Because right now, the way the world is, we definitely need to get together and stop being against each other. You know, and we need to start listening. And we need to start taking heed to facts and things that we see in a political view. You know, and what our political leaders are doing and the stuff that we're seeing and knowing. And we can't just start letting this stuff just bypass us because if we don't stop something now, later, it's going to be too late. Y'all come back. Peace. So that's all, y'all, for this edition of Music Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Come back tomorrow and check out True Tuesday with K Money. Hit that like button, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Scott Podcast. Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast.